Hey folks, it's Fancy Wednesday Volume 2. We'll probably be totally alone at work with no one else dressed up for Fancy Wednesday, but that's okay. It's right before Thanksgiving. I don't really expect many people to be there. I just want to get in the habit of continuing Fancy Wednesday. We're going to ExperiencedDevs subreddit. This one is about a person who's dealing with a situation where a mid-level developer on paper is essentially reaching out to this author for help, but usually like nothing wrong with that on the surface, right? But it sounds like what's happening is that the person who's reaching out for help, this mid-level developer, is saying to this person who I assume is more senior, I don't really know, they're saying, like, as they're walking through stuff, like, okay, like, but yeah, can you do that for me, kind of thing. So to me, that's a bit of a red flag. Long story short on this scenario, it's like this person's kind of getting irritated that they're spending time with this person, but there's not really like a they're like, I don't really see a growth path here because I'm just doing the stuff for them and they're asking for some help on this. So I think this would be a good one to talk through. I think there's a whole bunch of different angles we can look at. And a friendly reminder for everyone, if you have questions about software engineering, career growth, that kind of stuff, leave them below in the comments. I'm happy to try and answer. Otherwise, you can go to codecommute.com. You can submit questions anonymously that way, and I will make you a dedicated video. And if that's too much work to go to a website and do it, if you just find me on social media, send me a message. I have people that will reach out, they don't even know about Code Commute, and they'll say like, hey, can you, what are your thoughts on this? And I'll tell them, like, I will make you a video. It's like a more scalable thing, and I think it helps other people. I anonymize what's going on. Cool. Okay, so this is, I don't want to say it's like super typical, but I think some of the patterns we see in this example are typical, where we have people that are trying to help others because they believe that's not only the right, maybe I'll start by saying it's expected of them, but not only is it expected of them, they actually, want to do like the right thing and help others, right? But there's a breaking point for everyone. And I've seen this personally with people where it's like, they are genuinely people that really care about others. They're trying to help. They want their team to succeed. But they get to a point where they're like, okay, like I have spent so much time with this person across all of these scenarios, and like at this point, I really should not be helping this person with this because it's demonstrating to me that, like, despite all of my effort, it's seemingly no closer to like being independent on this thing. So sorry, one sec. Just want to turn here. So I do think that this is common in that regard. I think the part that's a little bit unusual, I don't think that I have encountered many scenarios where the person getting the help doesn't seem like eager or thankful to like try and like do the things on their own. So like if someone is literally proposing like, oh, here's, a thing to go run, or like, here's where to go navigate to, that the person that is getting help is like, oh, can you just do it for me? I'm not saying that never happens, but I feel like that's in my experience, a lot more rare. I have found mostly that it's two other things that happen. Aside from, okay, maybe I'll say three things. The one, which is what we want, is that the person who's getting the help goes, great, like, thank you for that. Let me try doing this, right? Because they need to drive. And part of that, by the way, is the person who's offering the help needs to facilitate it in a way that allows the other person to drive, right? This is the inverse of this is the one example where the person who's trying to help takes total control and doesn't allow the other person. I can't remember the variations I was going to talk about. I'm so sorry. I'm like, wait, I said 2, then 3. But yeah, we have where people do try to take responsibility and accountability, and they're trying to run the things on their own. We have the scenario where people are not even creating such an environment, and I thought there was a third. But point is that you can run into this situation, and if the person who's getting the help is not the person who is trying to, to execute the commands or like take the actual actions, I find that more often than not, this really either doesn't help someone progress, or the progression is very slow, because you're kind of like unblocking them right in this moment, but like the learning is minimized because they didn't go do the thing. But yeah, a lot more rare I find where someone's like, hey, can you just do it for me? Like, I don't run into that too much. But how do we navigate this kind of thing, right? Because this is sort of a conflicting situation for someone who's trying to help. They know that they're supposed to be helping. And they're like, look, like, I don't know if I can take this anymore. It's probably very frustrating from different reasons, but one of them is like, this takes up time, and clearly it's not being effective, right? So I definitely can see how that would be frustrating. I have talked with people that I have managed where they're like, look, I'm trying to help, and I'm kind of reaching my tipping point here, like I don't know what else to do. But they do believe that, and I mean this genuinely, like they believe that helping people is the right thing. So the one angle I wanted to start with on this is like, I think that it's quite common people believe they are helping by getting someone unblocked, which is true, like that is helpful, but they don't realize just how much they are doing and not letting the other person do. And this is, I feel like, a side effect of like being very busy and wanting to kind of get back to like the thing that they were doing. And I don't mean that in a way to suggest that like therefore people don't value like helping others. I genuinely think, in my experience, that most people recognize like helping people on the team is very beneficial. So I don't mean to suggest that people are like, oh, like screw that, like I'm a lone wolf here. Let me get back to whatever is more important. I think that it happens almost like subconsciously, where it's like people are busy. And like, how do I get back to the thing that I probably feel like is more important because it's the thing that I have been tasked with, right? So I feel like it's not a malicious thing where it's like, screw this person. It's more just like, cool, you need help, and like, I only got so much time. Like, how do I make this most efficient, right? Like, let me show you what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it because otherwise it's going to take too much time, right? Like, people kind of fall into this pattern, and then at the end of a conversation, they probably feel like, well, I got the person unblocked. The person who got the help is like, sweet, I'm unblocked. So people leave a conversation like that probably feeling like, cool, like we got it done. And don't get me wrong, they probably did. But the challenge here is that like, this is not a scalable approach. And I say it's not scalable because the effectiveness of learning by following this pattern is low. And if you think about it, like, I know from my own experience, if I go read documentation or watch a video on something, and then you remove the documentation or the video from me, and then the next day or a week later you say, go do the thing that the documentation said, I would be like, I remember like one part of that, right? Like, if you're not doing the thing, it's a lot harder to retain. It's the same reason why a lot of us are suggesting to newer developers, like, if you want to get better, stop looking for shortcuts start building things, start using code, start using, tech stacks, start doing the thing that you're trying to get better at. And yeah, you're probably going to suck at it in the beginning, and that's totally cool, totally expected, but you need to start doing. And I think it's the same thing with a lot of problems people run into is you can get unblocked by talking to someone, but if you're never the person who is being hands-on with it, I feel like it doesn't stick as well. So my recommendation is, like, first of all, do a little bit of reflection here for yourself and be honest, right? Try to think through some scenarios and be like, last week, who was I helping? What did it look like? Was the other person sharing their screen? Were they the one clicking around doing things? Or were you? Were you the one sharing your screen? You were the one saying, I'm going to press this button, I'm going to write this code, I'm going to do whatever. Because I'm not saying it's wrong. Like, that's not my intention to make this very much like a black and white, yes or no, wrong or right thing. But, like, think about it. If you spend more of your time doing the clicking and the driving, this might be a really good opportunity for you to flip that around. So something to think about. So this is one part where you may not realize, but like you are trying to help, you're spending time with people, but how you're doing it is more of like a short-term kind of success. So that's a good, I think, a reflection to try and do. And then the next thing is, like, cool, if you have a little bit more awareness of this. I have to yawn. There it is. That one was trying to sneak its way out for a while. If you have a little bit more awareness of this and you're kind of building that awareness up through these reflections, like, try to keep that as much as you can, like, front of your mind when you are helping the next person, right? And it's like, I'm not saying that this is instantly going to be solved and like we just change your behavior automatically, but if you're like, okay, I'm helping this person, and you're like, your instinct is, I'm going to share my screen, I'm going to go point them to like where this is in the code and start walking through, like, try to catch yourself and say to the other person, like, hey, like, you share your screen, right? You're going to drive. And it's going to feel probably slower and a little bit more frustrating because, like, it is more work on your part. You now tell someone where they need to click or what they have to go search, and you might be sitting there going like, oh my God, like, it's right there on your screen. Like, how can you not see it? Or, I told you to go run this command and like, you don't even know the command. Oh, this is so frustrating. Like, I could have done this in 2 seconds. Like, yeah, that's the point. It's gonna probably suck a little bit, but that is part of their learning experience. So I'm not saying that you have to sit there on a call with them and do it necessarily, but kind of pushing things more towards the other person to go drive the action, I think, is going to help a lot. It probably will feel slower in the beginning. So having some awareness, trying to catch yourself, and then make adjustments to be like, you do it, I think will help. The reason this is kind of weird advice when you hear about this Reddit post, though, is like, the other person is suggesting, can you just do it for me? Like, what I would say is, like, try to make a conscious effort to be like, no. No, I will not just do this for you. Like, I understand it might be quicker, but like, if you start drawing that line, it depends on the people, right? So I personally have not had experiences like this where someone's like developed a habit of it. And I don't necessarily know if that's what this person has arrived at, but if that's your concern, I would say, like, draw a line and say, like, I will not do that. Like, I've given you the commands. and like you can frame this in a way that's not like I'm being an asshole about it, like screw you, run your own command. It's more like, hey, that's the command. I think that it would be good if you go run this so you can practice it, right? You can frame all of these things in a positive way because legitimately it is a positive thing. The negative part is that it's probably a tiny bit slower right now, right? So this is all my suggestion from the perspective of trying to help the person. I have another yawn coming. I did not sleep well last night at all. I had to get up and like I woke up in the middle of the night. I was wide awake. It was like 1:45 in the morning, and I'm just lying in bed and I'm like I can't sleep, which is pretty rare because I have narcolepsy. So I fall asleep like if I wake up, I can close my eyes and fall asleep pretty fast. But last night was not the case. I had to get up, go downstairs, sleep on the couch. I like forced myself to change my environment, but kind of feeling a little tired now. The other perspective on this topic that I want to go through though is like the missing part we haven't talked about on this video, which is what we talk about on most videos on this channel, manager conversations, right? So I think that it is worth surfacing, and you can do this in a way that, you know, you don't need to feel like a tattletale or anything like that, but raising awareness to this person's manager, especially if it's your manager too, I think that's really helpful. To raise awareness, to be like, hey, just so you're aware, I am trying to help this person. Just so you're aware, I am trying to shift my style a little bit so that so that they're being more hands-on, and the side effect of that is like we might be getting through things a little bit slower. We're gonna pass this guy. Is that what's happening? There we go. Yeah, like side effect is like we might be moving a little bit slower, but here's why, right? Like here's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to make sure that they're being more hands-on, they're the ones getting more learning, and just being transparent about that. Because if you raise awareness to that early in a way that's not like, oh, this person sucks, is like, cool, you're trying to do the right things. If when you're trying to do the right things, it's still not working out over time, there could be a few things to look at. One is like, are you genuinely being effective with it? That's one thing to look at, right? I don't know. You might feel it, but if you need to have a further conversation with this person's manager, again, especially if it's yours, like, is there something that can you walk through some scenarios and get some feedback to see, is it possible that this person's just genuinely not skilled up at this point? Because if that's the case, you can, provide evidence saying like, look, over these sessions, I've been trying to help this person this way, and like how things have been progressing, it does not feel like the right amount of progress is being made, right? Here's my concerns, blah, 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 bring it up with their manager. Because if the manager has that feedback, they might be able to say, cool, do I need to find different opportunities to skill this person up? Is this a PIP situation where we have to like let this person know like very concretely, like you got to turn this around? We'll come up with a more specific action plan, but like heads up, like this is currently in the wrong direction and we got to turn it around, right? I think the earlier and more regular this kind of conversation or feedback happens, the fewer surprises there are for people, right? You don't surprise the person where they get feedback and it's like, by the way, you're terrible. And they're like, well, what do you mean I'm terrible? Like, I've been approaching this stuff the same way for a year, and like this is the first time in a year that someone's telling me I'm terrible. Right? Like there's fewer surprises for the person's manager, where it's like, by the way, I've been working with Billy for 12 months now, and I just wanted to let you know I've realized that Billy is terrible. And the manager's like, well, what the hell, man? Like, why would you wait a year to tell me that? Like, what are the things that, like, now it's a weird spot because we want to help Billy. How do we help Billy if we're so late into the feedback game? Right? There's fewer surprises for you, because if you're the person trying to help and you are acting with best intentions to do so, but for whatever reason the help that you're delivering is not effective, in terms of your approach, that could be a really good opportunity for you to get some coaching and to improve like your approach and how you're helping people. There's nothing wrong with that, right? It's like this, it's also a skill, right? Like, you need to be able to have patience. You need to be able to communicate things in different ways. You need to be able to, when I say different ways, I mean like not only like down level it so that people can understand it, but you might need to come up with several different variations of some message that you feel like is the same, but you need to share it in different ways so that it gets through to someone, right? Like, there's so many different aspects to this that are a skill. So, you know, if you're more new to doing this, like, would you expect that you're just awesome at it right away? Like, probably not. I've made videos about talking about some of my earlier experiences where I literally was going around. I can remember this, like, I can visualize the office space where I would go around to people's desks to, air quotes, help them, and I would, like, write the last little bit of code, right? Like, oh, just, like, slide over your keyboard and mouse, like, I got this. You know, like, stuff like that where I'm, like, I'm the one doing it, and then me sitting there going, like, why is my whole day filled with doing other people's stuff? I haven't even gotten my own things done. Because I was never actually teaching people how to solve their problems. I was just trying to solve their problems for them. So yeah, I think manager awareness is important. I think that you know, awareness for you is important around your approach. And I think those are the two major things I want to talk about. I feel like if I keep talking, I'm going to start repeating myself more. That's probably a good indicator, like, I might be done here. That doesn't mean that there's not more to talk about regarding this. If other people have thoughts, like, definitely comments are appreciated if you want to chat through, like, here's how you've navigated this type of thing. But the reality is, for this person, it very well might be that they're misleveled. Some people brought up in the comments, like, by the way, like, maybe this is actually totally expected if it's a new person to your team or your company. But how long has it been going on for? Because if it's for like months or something, they were saying, I feel like that's not really my expectation. I also personally think it's a bit of a flag to have someone be like, oh, can you just do it for me? I'm not saying automatically that makes it a problem, but like a little suspicious. Makes me a little hesitant. Okay, buddy, you gotta move. Okay, I think we're done here. Fancy Wednesday. I will see you next time. Take care.